Hi, Adam. Welcome back to the pub. It's been a bit of a hiatus the last 2 weeks, but we're back.
Yeah, back and with a lot of updates this week.
Oh my goodness. So this is our kind of like spotlight special almost. So how many updates were there? 100, 200?
Yeah, I mean, across a spotlight, yeah, but I think that about that. And I think just this week alone, I think it's around 70. So,
oh, it's crazy. So you'll be pleased to know we're not going to go through every single one today, are we? We've highlighted our kind of favorite ones. And there's been a bit of a theme, we think. So two themes, and when maybe one kind of like maybe we're predicting something. We kind of heard it here first, but first prediction, or first kind of theme, I guess, is like Breeze credits becoming more useful. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely a lot more use cases on how you can spend them now.
Yeah, I think that's the key. HubSpot wants you to spend them and buy more of them, obviously. So, and then the other one is there are now many, many, many more reasons to upgrade to Marketing Hub Enterprise. So previously, yeah, we'd seen clients, haven't we, upgrade to Marketing Hub Enterprise just because they've got too many contacts for Pro, but there are some other reasons now, right?
Yeah, looking forward to looking into them.
And then the other prediction that we have around smart properties, which is a new feature, I say prediction, but we'll hold fire. Well, actually, that's our first thing to talk about. So let's bring that up on stream. And then what we'll do is we can start talking about smart properties and our prediction around those. So I'm going to just crack on into this view that we've got here. So Adam, just tell us what a smart property is first before I start kind of showing off how it works.
Yeah, so smart property is another use of AI where you can enter a prompt into a property that then uses the Breeze credits to bring you back the result, and it searches either via the website of the company or from the data you already have in your CRM.
Yeah. So what we so it's a great use case of AI. So we think we've been testing some prompts, but so we're going to put a smart fill prompt onto here. And again, HubSpot's way of trying to get you to spend Breeze credits, I think, but doing a good thing. So what we've kind of discussed was that we think HubSpot have got their eye on Clay, and this is essentially the functionality that you can do within Clay in a Clay table. And HubSpot have kind of thought, I think, bring that in house at least a little bit. So. Adam, we're having to think about a prompt, weren't we? What have we decided on our kind of test prompt on this property?
Yeah, well, we tried just before we went live on this, and we didn't have one with 100% success rate. So let's try office location, which we haven't tried yet. So this will be a live test.
So with this property, what it's doing is it's looking at. So it's a property that's got no data in it, but behind the scenes, it's got this prompt. So when you kind of like run that property through, it's going to use AI, search the prompt, and you can see here it's looking at web research or other property data. As you can see, I've put in what is the office location of this business. I'm going to type in unmatched here, and it's going to go away and have a look at our website and try and determine where our office is. And that one's actually bang. That's our first one, bang on. I think it's the luck of the recording. Adam, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we had some interesting results earlier when we were looking at
how many employees.
Employees probably overshot for us.
I think a little bit. I think it was suggesting 26 to 50. I think was the last one it came back with. Let's see what it comes back now. Yeah, 26 to 50. So that's way off. We're currently a team of 7 at Unmatched, but yes, there's a mixed bag here, but I did like the office address one. I think it's probably around structured data, isn't it? Like, I think that's the key bit. Like, it must be searching the website in a certain way, right?
Yeah, because like you said, like we have got us as employees listed on the website, but not in a structured way where it says there are 7 employees. So it's clearly, and an address is, I imagine, something quite easy to scan for.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, for example, we were saying when we what services do they offer? Right, and then we just left it to do its own thing, and it's just interesting what it was coming back with. So I'm not sure where it kind of is grabbing this information from the web, but you can see it's kind of said around social media management, not something we really do, but it has now picked up in this attempt, Adam, HubSpot onboarding. So I think this is an incredibly powerful way of using HubSpot. we need to have a look at how this gets run, I think is the key one. Because if you just said, put this prompt on the database and then, how does it actually run, I think is probably a key one that we might need to have a look at. Have you had a look at that just yet, Adam, or is it all kind of fresh news to you?
No, it's pretty fresh. But what I want to say from when I looked at it, it won't just automatically run. I think you have to select like which ones you want it to run for, because otherwise, like you say, you could one import and you could burn through your credits before you know it.
Yeah, absolutely. So just looking at the knowledge base here, with 100 credits, you can configure one smart property. So it's quite limited. So I think Clay are pretty safe right now. You can also enrich values within any smart property up to 200 times per month account wide. And then with 1,000 credits, 3 smart properties. So I think it's quite limited for now, but I think the use cases are, pretty incredible by the looks of it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing what other people do with it as well, and getting more time with it to see what it can do.
Yeah, absolutely. So our next one that we've got planned on our list of massive updates is one that I'll kind of take us through. And it's this one. It's Knowledgebase Agent. So HubSpot's doing this thing called agents. There's quite a few of them sat here now. You see prospecting agent, customer agent, and customer agent and content agent. And this new one here, knowledge-based agent. So we've requested the beta. So product manager at HubSpot, please let us in. But what it does, it's really, really clever. What it does is it looks for knowledge gaps in your knowledge base. So if you haven't got an article about, I don't know, how to add, one of our apps, sequential potentially to your HubSpot account, it would look for those support tickets that are coming in. It would look at the pages that you've already got on the on your knowledge base, and then it starts drafting the content for you. I'm not sure what level of content it goes into, like if it does imagery and all that type of stuff, but it basically allows you to publish a knowledge base article that should have existed. So you're not too much in the support side of things or the service hub type of thing, Adam, but what's your opinion on this one?
That sounds great. I think the fact that it identifies the gaps it is super helpful. And like you say, I'd be keen to see the level of content that it generates, whether it's just written content or if it can actually go further than that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you need at least 5 tickets in the portal to get some context to it, and have the new knowledge base tool set up so you can actually migrate with HubSpot on that. But yeah, this is, I think, a really interesting one. And it's just agents in general. I think people are a bit cautious about getting too much on the hype with it. But yeah, this one sounds like a pretty good one. Keeping on the agent one is customer agent. So this one here sounds pretty good. So I'll go through this one again because I think I kind of had a decent look at it earlier. And what this is doing, essentially, customer agent is like a customer-based chatbot and stuff. You might have seen it if you use HubSpot support. They're using customer agent as you'd expect. But what this tool is doing is it now gives you, then their use case here, I think is perfect. If you're saying, for example, to the chatbot, where is my order, that type of stuff, it will then say, the chatbot would then go, hey, can we have your order number and your email address, for example? And then what it does is you can then connect customer agent to talk to an API of a third-party system. So I don't know, Royal Mail or DHL or any of those other kind of postal services in this particular use case. And it would go and fetch that information direct and then put it back into the chat. So yeah, I think the use case of this in customer agent is absolutely massive. It's going to take HubSpot quite upmarket as well, Adam. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, again, another really cool update. I'm just trying to think of use case off the top of my head, but I wonder if it could integrate with like other ticketing systems. So if people are using, they're not using HubSpot tickets, they're using, say, ServiceNow or something. I wonder if you could, if you gave the ticket ID from that, it could then use an API to give you the update from a ticket in another.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's quite an interesting use case. I like that one. So have the chatbot run by HubSpot, but they're managing their tickets somewhere else, because that's what they've got in the business. Yeah, getting updates like that could be incredibly useful. I think this could be quite good in e-commerce as well. Specifically around this, but in general, like, do you have this product in stock? That type of stuff could be quite good. querying like back-end databases of product stock and all that type of stuff. Great. Should we talk about research intent, Adam?
Yes, this is another one. Not that we kind of mentioned this before we started recording, but when you said about the smart properties having a bit of clay about it, when you were saying that, I was thinking, well, this has got a bit of Zoom info about it.
Absolutely.
In the power of what this can do. So the way I understand this is a new beta where it's going to show you companies that are researching the topic, but not necessarily have been on your website. So they've shown intent, but it's not to say they've actually been looking around your website. So it's really, really powerful.
Yeah, I think this is particularly powerful when you combine this with like the buyer intent. So this is in the buyer intent tool, but like using things like, your existing visitor intent. So as you can see here, you could say visitor intent on our website would be the contact us page. So you could then layer in, okay, people who are searching for stuff and who are in, having some intent and they're in market. But you could just turn this off to say they haven't made any interaction with the website. They've not, they're in the target market, they're researching these topics. And we're not sure what filter by research level is yet, because the downside of this this update, Adam, is it's you have to have the 10,000 Breeze credit pack, right?
Yeah, you've got to have a lot of credits to access this one.
Yeah, so it says you can try it, but I don't think it's even available to you unless you have that 10K credits. And I can see why, right? Because this is a quick way of spinning through your credits super quickly.
Yeah, but another really powerful release.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically your Breeze credits are going to be going down quickly, especially if you're doing in the target accounts area of HubSpot. You're using the research agent to research companies you've got in your target accounts. You're then using this to get the intent. You're then using it for the smart properties. You're then using it for Breeze AI and workflows. You're using it everywhere. Is 10,000 credits going to be enough for some big companies? Probably not.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And I think that's what excites me, how you can layer these different AIs on top of one another. So once you've got the intent, you can then use AI to actually research that company and then start crafting an email specifically around what they've been researching. So yeah, really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Just nosing around all this other type of stuff they're doing all around company intelligence, I think, is key. So that Clearbit acquisition is paying off now. HubSpot are able to leverage that. So let's talk about another AI thing. It's AI themed, like we said it would be today. We were talking about conversational enrichment for email. So give a bit of a heads up on this one. Is HubSpot, even if you have just the basic Breeze credits plan, which we do at Unmatched, we have the base one. And what this is doing, a bit like HubSpot Insights used to do, but not so good. So this is better, sorry. But what it does is it looks at incoming emails and outbound emails and stuff. So any email that your customer has sent to you, they might have their job title, they might have their phone number, they might have they're out of office, they might have their return into the office, they might have a job title change, all that type of stuff. What HubSpot's doing is it's scanning those emails all the time, and then it's updating the company or contact record. I think it's just contact records here. It's updating those contact records with data from the email. This is, I think, a pretty mega update, Adam. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I think my favorite one is about the job change detection. I can easily think of a campaign you could do off of that, where if somebody, so what it will do is it will update their job title. So A is keeping your data clean, but then B, you could then potentially run a workflow off of that, where if your job title becomes a decision-making job title, you could then enroll them into a campaign that says congratulations, let's chat, because you're now at a level where you're our buyer persona.
Yeah, I think that's really, really key. And I think how you would do this before, again, to mention Clay has a monitor job titles feature. However, that's monitoring job titles on LinkedIn. And some people don't like to update their LinkedIn. They don't like to update their LinkedIn every time their job changes. Some people do, obviously. But I think this is an incredibly powerful one that will keep you ahead of the curve, ahead of competitors not using HubSpot. This one's interesting. New contact extraction. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it captures and adds new contacts found within email conversations. So it's actually looking at this, the people on CC and go, oh, they're new, add them. And I think this is going to be really, really good. So this one is the one that we found was a little bit odd. Maybe it's an American thing, but certainly not something we're seeing in the UK. But, returning to office detection, is that something that people put in their email? I don't know. But, dragging people back to the office as a whole is probably not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I assumed it was like when they're back off holiday. I guess if they're out of office until X date. But then I'm not quite sure where it would then, either way, where it would put that information for you to then run a campaign off the back of it. Because I get it if somebody's been out of office for a period of time and then you then say, welcome back, run a campaign.
I think an out of office would be great, right? If you say, you're out of office until this time, update a date property and use that date property to like delay workflows or do other outreach or something. But returning to the office as a key purchasing decision, well, maybe for desks and chairs, but it seems a bit niche. I'm not reading that right. I'm hoping someone can educate me a little bit more on that. But for me, that feels a little bit strange. I'm not a fan of that bit, but maybe that's just me personally. Should we keep on the AI train? Next one, meeting Notetaker, Adam.
Yes, excited to try this one. Obviously, we're big fans of Fathom here, and if you know what Fathom is by the sounds of things very similar. Everyone sees. I don't think you can have a meeting now without having an AI Notetaker join.
Yeah,
and now HubSpot has their own one.
Exactly. So as you can see with this demo on here, about planter boxes, it's got the next steps. It's got the summary. It's got an ability to jump through timestamps, and it's got this kind of like HubSpot Academy style almost, way to skip stuff. You can share the recording internally, all that type of stuff. So I think this is really, really interesting. I thought that Fathom would be, on HubSpot's hit list of things to purchase or outdo, and I think this is kind of proving that point, really. Fathom is still incredible. We'll still keep using it, but I'm really keen to test this one. The one thing I am just put a bit of a rant out there is HubSpot seems to be focused on like the outcome, so you can see here outcome of meeting, and I think that's great, and it does it in Google Calendar and Outlook Calendar, all that type of stuff as well. But why does it not give you the ability to update the meeting type on here as well? Like, I just want to update the meeting type. Is it a discovery call? Is it a health check? What is it? Anyway, I'm ranting, but it's missing the type, and reps don't like going. Salespeople don't like going in and updating the meeting type.
Hopefully, that's on the other tab of info and insights.
Oh, we can remain hopeful, Adam.
Yeah, I think that this is part of a wider beta as well around meetings in general, where it's like a meeting AI assistant. So it can actually listen to what's been said in the meeting, and then I believe it can add tasks off the back of the actions.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what Fathom does with them, right? So I think this is what it's doing. So the meeting record centralizes all the meeting details, account insights, blah, blah, blah. Let's open it up. And what this is showing here is, discovery.
What's the other tab? Is it there?
I've got it. Oh, here it is.
There you
go. Well, look, let's hope that's a meeting type. I'm assuming it is. But this looks really thorough, and it's also in HubSpot's kind of UI, which obviously most people like. And, internal notes, agent updates in here, key talking points to be had. This is a very clever use case of AI. Do you think?
Yeah, I think, for sure. Particularly for people where if they have a business model where they kind of have a BDE who passes it on to an account executive or another person in the sales process. This is great for that second person to be able to, in a snapshot, see exactly what's gone on already and be able to have that second meeting at a more advanced stage.
Yeah, I think it's mega helpful for that type of stuff. And just going into the follow-ups, like you said, it's creating tasks and it's giving you it's suggesting tasks to be created. It's suggesting you follow up, all that type of stuff. So this is the use case of AI that I like. It's just helping me out on the day-to-day. It's taking away the admin. This is where AI should be useful, so I can focus on other more useful things. Just as a quick reminder though, guys, there is a couple of other betas around this that have been out a little while. I just wanted to focus on is a meetings index page. So accessible from like a, so it gives you a table of all your meetings. You can do stuff in here like calculated meeting properties for calculating duration and all that type of stuff. We find this one useful at Unmatched, don't we, Adam?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big fan of the index pages, spend a lot more time there to kind of dig around, and it's great that you can now do that with meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing we've found with meetings here is like looking at how many minutes we spend on meetings with people by customer, by client. You can do that, all that type of stuff in here. You can use calculated properties on the start and end time of a meeting to get the duration and roll that up to the company level and do all sorts of fun stuff. So another one around meetings is importing Teams meeting recording and transcripts into HubSpot. So most businesses, I say most, but a lot of businesses using Teams. You'd have seen this in your old business, no doubt, Adam.
Yeah, I think this one will go down popular with those guys, and many other companies. It's like you say, Teams is widely used, and I think you can just have your Teams meeting, but still have all of the benefits of the new AI meetings features we've just discussed.
Yeah, and it's just bringing it through from Teams. So everyone using Teams, happy days over here, I think.
Yeah, and like you say, just less clicking as well, like just bringing it all in together. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of the Breeze credits becoming more useful, and some other kind of general kind of updates on AI and meetings and stuff like that as a whole. The other key thing that they were keen to stress on the spotlight was around Marketing Hub Enterprise. So just want to give people a little bit of an overview, Adam, of what Marketing Hub Enterprise used to be used for, I guess, would be a great start.
Yeah, I think one of the main use cases of upgrading to Enterprise previously was a lot of the time around number of contacts. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it becomes more economical to be using Enterprise when you've got over 80,000 marketing contacts. But upgrading for the sake of just because I'm big enough seems a bit it's a bit lackluster, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think previously it didn't have as many features, well, especially compared to now, to make it appealing to do that upgrade if you didn't almost have a need to. But now there's something that's almost enticing with these latest updates.
Absolutely. So we're going to flick into our demo account because we don't have Enterprise on the Unmatched account. So hopping in here, the big one that everyone is talking about, Adam, is journey automation. So I'm not going to ask you to speak through this because we only started talking about it, didn't we, just before this meeting? But and we're kind of exploring this live here, really. So HubSpot have dressed journeys up as essentially a better workflow kind of builder. That looks at the whole journey from, for a customer, all the way from, as you can see here, all the way from a new contact all the way to a customer, or to like this actually looks like a bit of a re-engagement flow, to be honest. But it's an interesting one. So you've got like stages, as you can see here, and then what it's doing is it's saying like, okay, this is actually the goal of this is to qualify contacts into leads, most likely. And you can see here what it's doing is it's saying, okay, a new contact goes into their nurturing flow. If successful, I presume, on this branch, go to mid-intent, and it just kind of hops up here, and then it does stuff in here as well. So it's quite a difficult one to visualize, isn't it, without really like using it in detail and having a campaign running through it, right?
Yeah, I'm keen to have a play with this. I think the best way I can kind of explain it in my mind anyway is it seems like it's multiple workflows within one. So each of those little boxes where you can go in and edit that flow it is almost like a sequence of steps in its own. And then I like though that it can loop back up to previous steps.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing I'm keen to understand is like, how do I put content in this? How do I assign campaigns into this? And obviously for customers using who will be using journeys, I think that's going to be quite key in understanding like how do they, for example, you can see here, associate journey stages with specific campaigns, which I think absolutely great. But how do I kick off people receiving those assets in those campaigns? I think that's the bit that I'm not quite following just yet. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones where you're going to have a play with it to be able to fully understand how it works. But it certainly seems quite powerful.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the bit that we were kind of really happy with was around like re-engaging contacts to bring them back into the fold, like all around like nurturing, and essentially it's, across life cycle stages, and like I said, all in one big workflow. And what they're saying down here around the reporting of it is that you'll be able to, when you're on the canvas like this, easily see the successes of each stage. So yeah, I'm quite keen to try this out. We have a couple of clients with Marketing Hub Enterprise, so quite excited to give it a go with them, and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think this is a watch the space on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do a proper video, shan't we? When we're ready. So this other one, absolutely humongous. When people are probably used to the word lookalike from ad platforms like Facebook or LinkedIn, that type of stuff. But how many times have you created a list, Adam, that's you're just trying to find people who look like existing customers, and try and segment and get the right people in the list? It's just a common thing, isn't it, for big clients, especially people running complex marketing campaigns?
Yeah, definitely. And I think arguably you could argue that we've saved best to last here of the simplicity of what this delivers in terms of, like you say, just a lookalike. So if you've got a list of customers and you want to get a lookalike list of who you should be targeting, this new kind of AI list can generate that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this example here, you can see on their I love this graphic as well. Like, someone's done an incredible job with this. So you've got your original list. You're then saying, give me people who have engaged, in this industry or whatever. This is what the AI is looking at. And as you can see here, these people in this top list kind of match these three people, or that kind of segment here. And then the lookalike list picks up a similar bunch of people into the list. So in the kind of UI here, we can see, contacts with multiple subscriptions, and then, show us more contacts with multiple subscriptions, but do not include customers. I think that is just going to be just an amazing use of AI within the CRM. That just would take hours to do, wouldn't it, manually?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time with things like that, people don't even know where to start in terms of lookalike customer base. So for it to kind of combine everything almost, but to still be able to refine it is great. And like we say, I think this is a good use case of a great reason why to upgrade to Marketing Enterprise. Yeah,
absolutely. If you combine Marketing Enterprise with marketing plus, or HubSpot kind of call HubSpot for marketers, or HubSpot Enterprise for marketers, which is basically HubSpot Marketing Hub Enterprise plus Content Hub Enterprise, add in the Breeze credits, I think it's going to be unstoppable. I can't see any other platform doing this. I think the agents maybe are lagging a little bit behind some other tools potentially, but in terms of a marketing tool that can do it all, bring it all together, is there anything better? Certainly not Marketing Cloud from Salesforce, but Marketo's pretty powerful, obviously. Reminds me of, takes me back a few years, but there's just not going to be a better tool than HubSpot at this point with all this with all these new features.
Yeah, I think it will allow people to consolidate their marketing tech stack as well, because at the minute a lot of people have got a lot of different tools for a lot of different things, whereas we're seeing more and more that you can actually now bring it all into HubSpot, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just keen to actually kind of use these kind of enterprise tools with our clients, and to start seeing some benefits of using them. So absolutely humongous updates. I'm just having a quick last minute scan because there was over 200, I think, like you said, 70 new ones yesterday, but 200 kind of wrapped up in this spotlight, which HubSpot have been talking about. So any other final ones that you want to one we're just about to miss off, navigation, Adam.
Oh yes, I haven't had a chance to look at this yet, but I hear there is a new navigation
on the way
layout, which I welcome, because I don't know why, I still struggle with the new old navigation compared to the original one where it was along the top. So I'm keen to see what the new one looks like.
Absolutely. So scheduled for release in 6 days time. So what's that, next Thursday? So just before the Easter break, which I think may be a good time for testing this type of stuff en masse. So let's just have a look at the key updates of what HubSpot's saying is going to be a benefit. So get to your destination faster. I think we always recommend people to use the bookmarks tool. But what they're doing is sales have got their own area, and also service. I think it's a bit interesting to use a little bell icon, like you know, I've never been a fan of, like, you know, service, you know, come with the bell. It's almost like clicking your fingers in a restaurant, in my view. But you know, each to their own. So what I'll do is I'll flick our navigation here at Unmatched into the new one, and we can see what we think. So let's do it. Okay. So what we've got now is the new navigation on the left-hand side.